Hi, my name is Miss Martin, and I'm part of the Fine Arts Department, and I tend to teach graphic design classes and the drawing and painting classes. We do a lot of stuff hands-on up here in the studio, but I do try to encourage my guys to try some things that we do in the studio on drawing apps. So I wasn't able to be with you today, but I want to take you on a bit of a tour of some of the apps that I know some of my students use. I give them the opportunity to choose what they want to draw in, and then I'll show you some other things from from finding like figure models, and even some how-to apps to help you out in drawing some of the things that you might want to create. So let me take you into my drawing apps. The first one I want to show you is a free app called Sketches by Tayasui. You can see they offer a wide variety of little drawing tools. I will say that in any app that you're working with, you're gonna need to have a little bit of a learning curve for yourself. I am not fluent in all of these. I have them just more or less to kind of show students there are some different kinds to utilize. But there's everything from, pencils, mechanical pencils, to fine point pens, to brush markers, to crayons, to paint, watercolors, you name it. Even some patterns and stuff that apparently they say that you can get, but you probably have to purchase some of those. Some things, obviously are going to come at a greater cost if you buy the pro version. Erasers, blending stumps, X-Acto blades, rulers, all that good stuff. So many of the drawing apps that you would see that I'm going to show you all contain options for drawing and creating in layers. So that means if I draw something on this layer here, it won't be affected. Oh, that didn't do what I wanted it to do. Let's try that again. Sorry, I didn't realize it's still on the X-Acto blade. So here I am kind of playing with a watercolor brush. And if I hit this watercolor brush with some other color or another, if I want to erase something on this layer, I'd have to be really cautious to not erase something that I didn't want to erase. So a lot of artists will work on two layers. This one being one on top. Let me come to my other brush tool. And let me choose a different color here just for a moment. So now this brush is happening. It's a different kind of brush, and it's over the top of the other one. It's kind of opaque. It's covering it up, right? And if I decide I don't like that, I can always turn it off or turn it back on. Or maybe I decide that I want to, I don't know if these guys will move. These might be in fixed places. I don't know if these move. It's been too long since I've worked with this particular app. I think you can merge the layers, but I'm not sure that they'll swap places. But one of the benefits of drawing is that if I wanted to erase something from underneath, I wouldn't have to be so cautious that I wouldn't want to try and like go around the blue. I could just erase freely, and I'm not going to damage the blue because it's on a new layer. So working with layers is beneficial. This does have a lot more tools underneath of it that allow you to, let me click on this for a second. There we go. So on the right hand side, there's normally some kind of brush size changer for anything that you're drawing with, that gives you the width of your thing, as well as how opaque, meaning solid or clear, you want a color to be. If you want it to be super transparent, see there's that blue super transparent. If you want it to be more solid, you would come up more and it would be more solid when you painted with it. So this offers variety, including like being able to upload it and send it somewhere to your camera roll. You can also download and bring in a photo or a picture on one of the layers. That allows you then to like maybe draw over the top of it. If you bring a picture into this layer, then you can draw over the top of it with this layer. So layers is pretty helpful, but any drawing app that you're going to try and work with is going to take a little bit of time to know the tools and where to find all of the changes. Another free app that's out there is Sketchbook by Autodesk. This one's kind of fun because it comes, the free version comes with some nice little patterns. You can see I worked on layers here, right, over to the side. So here with my brush tool, I brushed a cheesy version of Grogu. I'm the Star Wars nerd. And then I came back and I used the brush, the watercolor brush, to then put in color with him, which was kind of nice. If I tap on any of these tools, it will show me how I can change the brush size, and you can see that up above here, how it's changing, right? To being wider, to skinny, to however I want. But then it also has a library. There you can see all the different kinds of tools and brushes that it offers. And down here it offers different halftones, which is basically what you see in comic books, right? The dot matrix of how things are printed in color. So I used this dot pattern, all right, with my brush, and I chose the colors, and that's then how I painted the inside of Grogu to have all of his different little dots happening inside of him. Cool. This has many features. I see up here at the top it allows you to do something with perspective. If you need a little assistance in drawing in depth, you can do type, where you can type letters and font styles. You can paint bucket and pour entire things. You can even work with gradients to fill things, to go from light to dark. The ever lovely undo button. You get to work in layers over here. This is your color rainbow over here, where you can choose different colors to work with. And I can click up here and you have this, what we call a color picker. So with many color pickers that look like this, you choose the color from the outside wheel. All right, say I really like orange. And then you have multiple options on the inside for narrowing down what you want. To the far right, it's the pure color that you chose on the outside of the wheel. From here, if I move this way, the color gets lighter. If I move down diagonally, the color is going to get darker. And if I move horizontally, the color starts to gray out. So it allows you to kind of manipulate and change your different colors. But then you start with the outer ring first, and then you can get your details on the inside. All right. So that's sort of a little bit of a look into Sketchbook by Autodesk. All right. Another biggie that's really popular right now is Procreate. And I did this one in Procreate, several months ago as an example. It too has layers, all right? So you can see here that I drew my sphere on one layer on top. On the next layer down, I used and did the wall behind it. And you can see here a little bit that it's sort of like I've kind of scribbled past some of the sphere there in the middle. When you come down here, you can see that I've drawn just the bottom layer because I can turn each of those layers off or on, right, at my leisure. See how you can see how I could be as messy as I wanted to because I knew that layer was going to be on top. This offers a variety of tools, and even within a specific tool, you have lots of different variations, right? You can eventually choose different sizes to your brushes. This becomes endless. There's so much inside of Procreate. The free version does a lot. But if you really get into it and you want to know more and you really just want to draw more, then the full capacity or the pro version is like $11.99, I think. And it has the video feature. You can video yourself creating something. Here you go again. It has the color picker like I just talked about a little while ago. Your outer ring, your inner ring information where you can kind of move things around to get lighter versions. So you can see where things are headed. You've got brush sizes changing over here, how much you want something to be opaque, see-through, or whatever. So it has your basic tools, but it does so much more. There's a lot more magic that can happen to this that's unbelievable. My daughter draws in this primarily, and she almost always draws with her record feature on. And so she can kind of go back and see how she's created things or show other people. Another is Adobe Fresco. Adobe Fresco is an Adobe product, and if you've ever worked with anything that's Adobe CC or the Creative Cloud, maybe you've had a film study class with Mr. Mitchell, or you've done some engineering stuff with Mr. McHugh, or someone in which you have, or with me in graphic design, and you've already got an account with Adobe. You can utilize Adobe Fresco for drawing and creating. You can see I've already doodled a little bit on some silly stuff here. It's easy to pick your brush, what kind of brush size you want. You choose yourself how smooth you want the brush, the size of it, how big or small, the color. Here you go, color picker again, right? What kind of color you want to have. And then you can start, drawing. All right, here's this little collar that comes around, right? It also has layers, as we've seen in other stuff here. Here's this little thing. He's got that big coat on, right? He looks like he's a little tiny head in a big outfit. So this is a part of that Adobe Creative Cloud where you can still work with sending it out. You can export it in lots of different ways. If you have access to Adobe Illustrator on your iPad or Photoshop, you can send it to that. You can do more things with it. So the layout looks just like any other Adobe product. They all have layers on the right-hand side, different properties, things that you can do with the actual drawing stuff. You have all your tools, the way you want to insert pictures if you want to. You can save things to your Creative Cloud. So again, if you have an Adobe account already, again, through any of those classes, Adobe Fresco is a nice drawing tool to have that's in that same family. ArtSet is another, probably a little lesser cost drawing program. It has some basic tools. You got watercolor, you got markers, oil pastel, chalk, good old colored pencils. You got different textures that you can add, calligraphy. So let me come up here to let's do a good old oil pastel, and then I'm going to click on a different color here. Let's pick something in the blue family. So again, when you start a new document, you can choose if you want to have a texture to your document or not. Again, the lighter I do, the lighter it's going to show up on this texture. With my finger or with the Apple Pencil, you can get it darker. You can mix colors together. I can come in here with my white and see how I can kind of lighten that a little bit. And it starts to really react like an oil stick does. There's even blending tools up here at the top. Come up here. Ooh, there's marker and ballpoint pen, quill pen, eraser, always good. I can use a tissue blender and look how I'm softening all of that up. So there's some really cool features in these drawing programs that really make them react like they're real, like you're doing it in person in the studio. This one does not have layers. It is plain and simple, just a drawing app. So it doesn't get involved with all the layered stuff, but it does offer quite a bit of opportunity for different kinds of pens to draw with. I love when it gets to ballpoint pens and stuff, and you can start to kind of create that ballpoint pen feel. I like kind of sketching on the sides with those as if you're kind of doing value with a ballpoint pen, or you could do hatching. So this is just a plain and simple, no layered kind of a deal. You can save things, you can send them, like I said, but it's just kind of a no frills version of drawing. But that might be what you want, something with a little less confusion. Those were some of the basic drawing apps themselves. Then let's talk about things like how to draw people, because drawing people in real life is different than drawing anime people or Magna. So you might want to, it depends on what you want and what your look is as to which kind of option you might choose. There is an app for models called Mannequin. Imagine that. An art mannequin is what most people are used to seeing in an art studio, and we have one here digitally that when my guys want help in drawing a person, we used to pull out the old wooden one, and now we can pull out the digital one where I can move him, bend him, play with him in different ways that makes us feel like if we want to see him from different points of view, we can let's grab there we go. So make like maybe we're jumping up in the air. Let's hold our hands up. Hold your hand. Okay, there we go. Yeah, all right. And the cool thing is that you can turn and twist this guy, pinch, rotate. You can see him from the worm's eye view. You can see him from the bird's eye view. You can even see the nice shadow that's cast by that object. There are some presets. So you can click on, it's not letting me click on it. There we go. You can click on some presets, like if you want to see this guy jump. There he is jumping, crouching. If you want him to run, lie on his belly, sit on a chair, go walking, lie on his back. So there are some presets, depending on what you want, that you can start with, and then you can change it, right? You can change it up. So that is totally up to you. So he's your general, normal human structure. Magic Poser is one that's really specifically more for anime. I could, now this one does require probably a membership, but I don't think it's that much. I just have my little free one here that I might want to start with a guy. Here's my basic guy. I can pose him to do whatever I want. If we want him to be waving at us, hey, wait for me, kind of a thing. Hey, I'm coming. Ooh, I might have to move that leg back. Let's turn this way so I can go, hey, he's running after me. He's trying to get us, okay? So we can kind of play. Well, that looks silly. All right, let me turn it this way and bring his hip back out a little bit. There we go. Now he's running a little bit better. He's kind of falling over. But it allows me to, let's see, we used to be able to do something. Oh, here we go. We can throw some hair on there if you wanted to get him some of the anime hair. I think you have to buy clothing, but I think we can choose we can colorize him. All right, good deal. Can I color the hair? I don't know if I can color. Surely I can color the hair. But you get my drift that this does very much the same thing as the other poser does, right? And then let's see. Let me find it. Too has presets, so you can sit here and we can look at him from different points of view. So you can choose some presets of what your guy's doing. Hi-ya! All right. Or I can transform him. I'm going to come back over here. Let's see. I can rescale him. And this is one of the helpful things too, is that you could screenshot this, right? Here's my preview. You could screenshot him and then place him on a lower layer and then draw over the top of him. I know. Light bulb just went off, didn't it? Okay, so both of these are very good for Mannequin or Magic Poser, are very good for at least establishing your physical proportions, because again, people are difficult. Okay. I have, there's a few places in my photos here. Let me show you. If you want help or assistance, I found some of these places that you could go to, their apps. I believe most of these are free except for one, that How to Draw Anime Easy. And they have sort of how-to step-by-steps. Obviously, you can do certain specific characters, but they get you kind of to practice and how to work with that style, so you can see how the angular shapes are, how the eyes, the big eyes, and how things are different. So that's one of them. How to Paint Anime Manga. I always say it wrong. Manga Club. So that's another one. Obviously, you see it says in-app purchases. So the more you want to draw, the more specific you want to get, you'll probably have to pay for some things. But it looks like they have a lot of things to help you get the angles of the eyes and things like that. So that maybe you could take one of those, screenshot it, bring it over, and draw the kind of eye you want on a layer in your drawing. And then this one seemed to be $1. This one seemed to have some of the most to offer when I was looking at the options. Manga University 101 offered quite a bit of options for help and assistance, and how to some really clear how-tos that maybe some of the other ones glazed over. This one looked really nice. So those were some helpful how-tos that I thought I would send you to. One last thing I wanted to show you, if your ultimate goal is to maybe make your own comic book or a comic book page, and how it's divided and how to do it, this is another one called Cosmic Comic. For $2, it's not that much, but for $2, you can buy the total features. Woo! All right. Which allows you to, it looks like, create like a whole book. So you can either do single pages or create an entire book if you wanted to tell a story with things that you've drawn and put your own images in. And you can export the book, which looks really cool, like as a JPEG or a PDF as the full book. It had some nice features. You can see here that when I clicked on my background, I was able to hit the plus sign in the top left, and I brought in my Grogu sketch that I did in the sketchbook Autodesk, the one that had all the little the halftone dots on it. You can add, your speech bubbles. You can add all the extra little pows and zows. And again, with premium, it seems like you get like a whole bunch more of those fun things to put in, and your words and all. So this looks like a really cool place to kind of start laying stuff in, to maybe create an actual comic book if you wanted to, and for a fairly cheap price for a basic one. All right. So that is kind of my best suggestions, and just an overview of maybe what you might want to shop for or look for. Be patient, because it will take time to kind of learn what an app can do for you. But you might want to try a few of the free versions out. And if you really get the hankering for one, maybe look on YouTube for some how-to stuff, and decide which one you might want to commit financially to. I'm always, either up in the art studio upstairs in 402, or I'm down in the graphics lab, which is in the innovation area. So if you've got any individual questions, feel free to kind of track me down. And again, I'm sorry I couldn't be with you all, but I hope this helps in kind of giving you a little bit of an overview of some artsy places to try.